Roll camera. A dreaded serial killer awaits execution following a 43-year-old wait on death row. Now, the prison's medical team members gear up to deliver the lethal shot. The moment of truth finally arrives. But there is a twist in the plot. 8 failed attempts are made to administer the lethal injection. But why so? Because they are unable to find a vein. The deadline passes and the execution is halted. So what happens next? No, we are not narrating a Truman Capote novel plot. The bizarre scenes unfolded in America's Idaho. The state has now delayed the execution of serial killer Thomas Eugene Creech. This after not 1, not 2, not 5, but 8 failed attempts at delivering the lethal injection. The 73-year-old serial killer has served one of the longest death row stints in US history. Almost 50 long years. And that's not it. There is one unanswered million-dollar question. What happens next? But first, let's find out who Thomas Eugene Creech is. The now 73-year-old Creech was imprisoned in 1974. He has been convicted of 5 murders across 3 states. However, he is suspected of at least half a dozen more. If court filings are to be believed, Creech has himself admitted to killing or having participated in the killing of at least 26 people. If the procedure had worked, he would become just the 4th person to be executed in Idaho since 1976. And it's the first in 12 years. Now to the million-dollar question all of us have in our minds. What happens next? Well, according to the Idaho Department of Corrections Director Josh Tewalt, and I'm quoting him here, Idaho does not have an idea of time frames or next steps at this point. That's right. Ironically, the state seems clueless at this point. Tewalt went on to say the department will continue discussing what to do in the quote-unquote days ahead. Making most of the bizarre event, and quite predictably so, Creech's attorneys have reportedly filed a new motion. They are calling for a stay in the execution immediately. Now, after the execution was called off, their claim? The badly botched execution. Well, it proves the state cannot carry out a humane execution. While it remains unclear what will happen next, other states usually turn to secondary methods when a lethal injection fails, though the legality of those methods vary from state to state. One recent example is Alabama. It was a missed vein that prompted the controversial use of nitrogen gas in the state. It was done for the first time in the United States history last month in January. Now, there is no law allowing that method in Idaho. However, as of last year, Idaho became one of the only 5 states to legalize firing squads as a method of execution. But there's a catch here. Idaho's Department of Corrections does not have the facilities or physical capabilities to carry out the firing squad. For perspective, the most recent firing squad execution was in Utah in 2010. No other state has carried out a firing squad execution in 50 years. No matter how Thomas Eugene Creech is made to meet his maker, this rather bizarre episode has once again raised questions about what might be considered as a quote-unquote humane execution. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.